In the small American town of Savannah, Georgia, where streets were tucked among ancient oak trees draped in moss, lived 26-year-old Claire Wallace. She worked as a nurse at a local clinic, always in a hurry, rarely noticing how beautiful her city was. Claire's life was measured and quiet. Home, work, occasional get-togethers with friends, and calls to her parents on Sundays. She was used to helping others, but never imagined that one day she herself would find herself on the brink of life and death. One late autumn evening, Claire was returning home after her shift. The sky was thick with clouds, and a cold wind whistled over the river. She walked along the embankment, taking a shortcut through a small park. The leaves beneath her feet were slippery after the rain, and as she approached the old bridge, she felt a strange trembling beneath her feet. Before she could even register the danger, the wooden board beneath her foot cracked. Claire slipped, caught on a rotten railing, and her body hung suspended over the cold, black water. At that moment, a man was walking across the bridge, tall, athletic, wearing a dark jacket. His name was Jack Morgan. He had just returned from a run and decided to take a stroll along the river to clear his head after a difficult day. Hearing a scream, Jack instantly rushed to the edge. Seeing Claire desperately clinging to the wet boards, he without hesitation dropped to his stomach, extended his hand, and shouted, "Hold on! Don't let go! I'll pull you out!" The cold water slapped the boards, and a gust of wind tore at Claire's hair. Her fingers slipped, her strength ebbing, but Jack managed to grab her wrist. His hands gripped it tightly, and with incredible effort, he pulled her up. They both collapsed onto the bridge, breathing heavily. Claire looked at the stranger, her heart pounding. He smiled, a tired but warm smile. "It's okay. You're safe," Jack said quietly, still holding her hand. They sat for a few minutes while she recovered. Jack put his jacket on her and called the city to report the collapsed bridge. As he walked Claire home, he tried to joke the whole time to ease the tension, and his calm gradually warmed her more than his jacket. The next day, Jack found a note from Claire at the hospital where she worked, thanking her and inviting her for coffee. He came. The conversation, which began with awkward thanks, evolved into a long chat about books, travel, and childhood dreams. They found it surprisingly easy together. From then on, they saw each other more often. Evening strolls through the city, breakfasts together, occasional trips out of town. Jack was a civil engineer and soon helped the city officials repair that very bridge, their own place of destiny. Every time they passed by, they couldn't help but smile. 2 years later, on one of those soft spring evenings when the river smelled of fresh air and magnolia blossoms, Jack invited Claire to their bridge. Right there where he'd once saved her life, he knelt down and offered her a ring. "When I saw you that night, I knew I wanted to protect you forever. Marry me." Tears of joy glistened in Claire's eyes. She said yes, and the wind seemed to carry the word across the river. A few months later, they married in an ancient church on the riverbank, decorated with white ribbons and magnolia branches. To the guests, their story sounded like a romance from a movie, a chance meeting, salvation, love. But for them, it was reality, proof that sometimes one chance encounter can change two lives forever. After their wedding, Claire and Jack's lives seemed to sparkle with new colors. Their small house in the old part of Savannah became a place they always wanted to return to. Jack himself designed a cozy terrace where they would sit in the evenings with cups of hot tea, listening to the chirping of cicadas and the distant sounds of jazz music drifting from the riverfront. Claire decorated the house with photographs she took during their walks, sunsets over the river, magnolias after rain, old streets bathed in the golden glow of lanterns. A year after their wedding, their story took another surprising turn. City officials decided to build a new park next to that very bridge, and Jack was appointed the project's chief engineer. He worked long and hard on the plans, and Claire often brought him dinner right to the construction site, helping him choose plants for the walkways and lanterns for evening illumination. Every time they passed the renovated bridge, they would stop, holding hands, and recall that cold autumn evening that forever changed their lives. When the park opened, a small bench with an engraving appeared on its central path. Sometimes one evening changes everything. Jack and Claire Morgan. The inscription became a quiet reminder to everyone who strolled there that evening could be the beginning of a great love. A few years later, children's laughter echoed through their home. Their daughter Lily was born in the spring, the very same magnolia blooming season when Jack proposed. In the evenings, while putting the baby to bed, Claire would tell her a story about how Dad once saved Mom on the old bridge. Lily listened with wide eyes, asking every time to repeat it. Sometimes Claire caught herself thinking it all seemed like magic, but Jack always smiled and said, "It's not magic, Claire. It's just love that found us at just the right moment." And when the rosy morning rose over Savannah, they would step out on their terrace, holding hands, and know that their happiness had begun with a single cry for help and an outstretched hand, but had blossomed into a lifetime of warmth, laughter, and the quiet miracles that only happen to those who believe in fate.